The Buckland Select Board meeting of Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. It's now 5 p.m. and the meeting is open. Okay. Let's see. Appointments. We have a 5:15 appointment, but that's it's only 5 o'clock now, so maybe we can jump down a little bit. And do we have anyone here or is that an item on the termination of the senior center? Or should we wait? Are we waiting?
I know you're probably waiting on
Oh,
Sylvia.
no, we'll wait. We get plenty of other stuff we can do. Okay. We have documents to sign.
Well, some of that is part of your, the senior center agreement is one of the documents to sign.
Okay.
The other is your summer day on the common
Summer
request.
day in the common. Okay.
Where do they want to hang the banner?
They're interested, I guess, in the past, they used to hang it over on the Shelburne side and across the street. Shelburne is no longer allowing anyone to hang banners over the street. I'm not sure why, but neither here nor there. I think last year they may have hung it down along the
Where
fence
Gina
line
does the
on
same one for
Conway.
St. Joseph's, yeah.
And they said that for whatever reason it kept flipping on them, so they couldn't. It wouldn't stay
Oh, they got,
straight somehow. So
put
they're
some zip ties to the top and the bottom holding it into it, so
Okay.
you could tell them that.
okay. So there's other thought was
Okay.
the Buckland Rec, the wooden fence just as you come in. It is a fairly long banner. I think it would fit there. I think after speaking with Cindy at the rec, I think the only concern we would have is, will this open up other groups
Yes.
who want to post there?
I would like to, yeah, I was thinking of that too. I think you're gonna hit more people down here. And a while ago, say everybody saw it, we're in the center of town, so I'd be in favor of allowing them to put it over there. You know what I'm talking about, right
Yep.
across, you know how many St. Joseph's.
So
one
maybe
there
there's
was
some
here.
tips that you could offer them if
Yeah.
others have not had the problem where it flips on them. I don't know if
Well,
it's.
actually, Paul Gifford, if you know Paul at all, he's from Shelburne over there, but he's the one that does it for the church, and he puts zip ties and stuff, and it keeps it right there, so, yeah, they can, call Paul Gifford
Okay.
if they want to, or they can even get in contact with me, and we'll see
Okay.
what we can do, okay?
Okay.
Well, the thing is, that you're going to get much more exposure here
Yeah.
than they will in front of the rec. You know, you have people coming from out of town, you have people from the Shelburne side who walk over, you know, so I think I agree with Larry that it should be here.
Now, their request was for the Buckland Rec, but I'm gonna say that we're denying that request, and then we're going to have them, we're gonna offer them right out here on the road, going that, so.
On Conway.
On Conway, thank you. Yeah. We think it's for good reasons, for exposure, et cetera, and also, yeah.
I'll make a motion on
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion that we, that we deny the original request for the entrance of the Buckland Rec, and that we propose an alternative to put it on the fence going down Conway Street.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so moved and seconded, and so that will
Okay.
be it. Thank you. Yeah. Boy, we haven't.
So if you, I
Yes.
mean, I don't know if Mike has his group here and wants to go.
Anytime, we can go.
It's up to you how you
I
wanna,
certainly could, if he's ready.
I can
As long
ask
as
him.
it doesn't have grommets on the bottom.
I don't know.
Oh, possibly,
You
yeah,
know, but you can put those in.
yeah. Oh, was that Sylvia Smith too? Yeah.
Sylvia was out there waiting, so. So I guess we can start with the senior center agreement.
Because it's not really technical. On the agenda, it's for 5:15, so why don't we take the senior?
Sure, five. Ladies, are you ready? We're moving around a little bit because what we got here, and Mike is not until 5:15 when his group's all here, so we've got time to slip you in right now if you wanna.
Sure.
Thank you.
Please come up here and sit at that so we can hear you on the mic, it would be appreciated.
You need us to stay till we are?
Yeah, that'd be helpful for people watching from home.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm Sylvia Smith, and I'm from Shelburne. I'm on the Shelburne Council on Aging, and I'm also the chair of the West County Senior Services District.
You're not old enough.
Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
And I am Regina Purrington, and I'm the town's representative to the Senior Service District. So,
And what we're, one of the final steps that we need to do to finalize the transition from the consortium, the Senior Center Consortium
Yeah.
of Ashfield, Buckland, and Shelburne, to become the West County Senior Services District, is to terminate the consortium agreement, because that's what's governing the senior center and our programs now. The district will govern the programs and services, and we'll be a district unto ourselves. But part of the agreement, or the legislation that the state enacted in 2022, I guess,
Yes.
chapter 402 of the Acts of 22, yeah, is that the select boards of the three towns need to vote to terminate the agreement. So that's why we're here tonight, to answer any questions that you have. Donna McNichol, counsel for the district, has prepared the document. And Shelburne has approved the agreement, and Ashfield has it on their agenda next week, so.
And for people who might not be familiar at home, could you explain why this is happening?
This is happening, well, because the senior center, well, there's few more seniors in West County than there used to be. And we have an active senior community, and the location that we're at now, which is in the Mason's building on Main Street, is small for our programming. And it started with looking at the expansion project, senior center expansion project, and as we were looking at different facilities and sites, we came to the conclusion, with the help of a consultant, that we didn't have any authority to be negotiating any contracts to buy any land or provide any, or do any significant renovations. So that's when we got on the track of putting together the legislation to provide for the creation of the first in the Commonwealth joint senior services district. So we're Mavericks once again, and that was the beginning of why we're doing this, because we want a facility that will provide better space and opportunities for the seniors in the West County. And within that agreement, there's opportunity for other councils on aging in all of West
I
County
was wondering about
to
that,
become
yeah.
to become members of
So-
the district.
So you're just reaching out a little further.
So
That's
just,
good.
yeah, so just reaching out.
Hey, we're trying to do that with police forces and everything else. It's what you gotta do today, so.
I know I run the memoir writing group, and the people who are in it aren't just from Buckland or Ashfield and Shelburne. So, there is interest outside, I believe, in the programs that we have.
There is, Julie Moreno, who's the senior center director, is doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And I was at the indoor picnic today.
Good
and-
place to have it.
Well, I went to the Buckland Rec first, because I was naughty and didn't get my voice messages that it was relocated. But the point of this is that there were a lot of new faces at the luncheon that were good, so.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up to, and we're looking to seek your approval for the
No,
termination of.
I guess I'm still trying to figure out, so how does this benefit us in the long run? I mean, just more representative, more towns, or what actually?
well, collectively, we will be able to do more,
Okay, that's what, I thought that's what I heard you say, that,
yes. So
okay,
that's gonna help a lot, because you can't apply for any grants or loans or anything to move forward with a facility or other programs and things.
And this way, you don't have to have a town doing it, it's the whole, okay, all right. Yeah, I read the, things from legal also, KP Law, and, I have no problem, Joan.
No, I don't, I have one
Go ahead, yeah, please.
One question, so in terms of the, like the bookkeeping now and payment, who does that now?
Okay, well, the town of Shelburne was our fiscal agent under the
Right.
consortium. And we, maybe you remember being asked if you wanted to serve in that role, the town
Right,
of Buckland
yes.
wanted to. And all three towns very graciously declined that opportunity. So we have been in the process of getting vendors to provide the services. So we have Vadar with our software, we have CBiz doing our accounting, we have Harper's doing payroll.
Okay.
We've made connections to carry over the insurance. And we weren't able to vote on the retirement until we're actually a district. So I just put together the agenda for our meeting next week, July 1st, and that's one of the items on the agenda is to submit the letter of request be part of the Franklin retirement system.
Okay.
I think you definitely, it sounds like a much better agreement than what's going on right now. It's a lot of room for growth, and that's great. So you said Ashfield it's scheduled for them?
Yeah, we missed, through the legal review and everything, we missed the deadline for their agenda.
Yeah.
So it's on their agenda
So, and
next.
Shelburne approved it, or
Shelburne
just,
approved, and, so it's
next,
been
I'll make a motion that we approve the termination of the senior center consortium agreement that we are in. And do we have to say we're replacing it with something, I wonder, or not?
No, I think just
Let's just terminate
Okay, I
it.
second that, okay.
Okay, any further discussion?
No, sounds very
All
reasonable.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you, ladies, yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is, one more check mark on this. And if I could request that when you sign the agreement, if you could just email me a copy, because I have the copy from Shelburne, and then when I have the copies of signatures from the three towns, I will send them to all three town administrators
Pam,
for
you
your
got it.
record.
You got it.
I
Yeah,
will
right. Thank you,
certainly
Pam, yeah.
get that right over to you.
Okay, great, thank you.
No, I noticed a little bit of gray hair in this room.
Thank you.
Not totally.
No, oh, no, but this is natural.
I've gone for the white.
Thank you for doing that.
Thanks again.
Thank you
Good to
both.
see you,
Okay,
Sylvia.
thank you, good to see
Larry
you.
and Sylvia, you guys are within a couple of months of each other the same age. I just found that out from each of you independently.
Well, we're young,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've been around for a while, right, Larry?
around.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Sylvia.
yeah.
Nice meeting you,
Yes, you-
of course.
That's done right here.
Bye, Regina.
Oh, is this your group ready, Mike? It's gonna be you and Bruce, okay?
Yep.
Very good.
So thank you for agreeing to meet with me again after I've stood them up twice.
But who's counting?
Thank you.
This is your last shot, Mike, no.
Why made me come as his, to
Please
hold
make
it to
sure
it.
out- Yeah, right.
Bruce came to make sure you get your
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
I thought maybe you were gonna blame it on Bruce, but until you saw him coming, so.
He was here, so I can't blame him.
Okay.
Anyway, so it occurred to me and Pamela earlier, we met, and she was not really that familiar with the project that we've been
Right.
talking about, that we've been doing for about 5 years maybe or something, at a rough guess. And we were initially a committee of, we've always been volunteers, but we weren't a town committee. We were just independent. And after a couple of years of blundering along and realizing that the property was the town's, and should we be adhering to town bylaws and regulations in regard to open meetings and things like that, which I didn't know much about at all, it was concluded that yes, we should be a part of the town. And so then we became a part of the town, maybe like 3 years ago, whatever,
Something like
guess,
that, yeah.
something like that, yeah. So, but anyway, we did quite an extensive design project. Walter Kudnowski and Associates, it says here, donated a lot of time, his own time. He's amazing. I just, I mean, as you get to know and meet him, hopefully you'll agree. But anyway, he donated his time. He has a company, but he donated all of his time. And, but when he has to hire people to do things, to prepare, whatever, to pass out, to send into grants or whatever, we were paying for that. So there's been money spent all these years, and
How much, Mike? Is it a ballpark figure?
so I don't want to misspeak, but I think it's been in the vicinity of $30,000 maybe, at a rough guess.
And you raised that money how?
So we've raised money through grants, and we had a GoFundMe project.
Okay.
If you,
Wasn't there a grant administered by the CDC?
right, it was administered by the CDC. The,
That was
what else? Yeah, it's administered by the CDC.
Sorry to distract you, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I wanted to do is just to show you, I'll give you a visual on this thing as we're talking about it. We have had several public hearings, not hearings, I don't know if they're called hearings or whatever, where you,
They weren't hearings, I don't think. I think they were just meetings, but they were open to the public. Well, they're all open to the public, so, yeah.
because we were, if I'm not mistaken, we were required, based upon the money, the sources that we had, that you have to you don't just go out and do this thing, you bring in your community. So I think we had 2 of those, Cindy, do you
Yeah.
recall? 2 of those, and they were useful, if you have a public hearing, you get 3, 5, 10 people show up. That's what we had. And I was warned by Cindy Schwartz that you can't, and Pam too, actually, you can't have enough of these things. And even when you have them all, still people show up and go, oh, I didn't know you were going to plan to do this or that. So anyway, we've had a couple of those. The select board has been on board with us right along. And this is a visual. We have other drawings. I don't want to take a lot of time. I don't think that you want to. There's drawings like this that show you the details of how the property is located on the property, how this property would be developed based on the topography. The town engineer, Mike
Carter,
from SGS, GSG.
GZA, GCG.
There we go.
I think it is, actually.
At one point,
Yes.
prepared a base document for us, on behalf of the town, and we covered the money for that. And we found out just the last time we were over there, whoops, something might not be quite right in terms of the extreme back wall, how steep it is, kind of thing. So if we feel like the thing needs to be somewhat re-engineered, or to at least revisit the engineering to make sure that what we have in mind in this project is gonna still work. This is what the basic project looks like. We have that in. This is a picture of a rendering of the property, and at present, we're motivated to move ahead this next year with a grant that we're confident that Woody can get. She's confident anyway. But we would do the ramp, and much of it, not this tower idea.
Correct, you're
We did
doing
not
2
approve
parts,
that.
we said, no, we haven't approved that.
Yeah,
So, correct.
so we're not doing that. Good, I'm glad you remember something.
That's okay. That's,
And so we're motivated to move along with that thing, and to know that because of the additional bike lane that's there, which we like, but we might be taking away from this, might have to be slightly shifted or something, and because we know the steep background is maybe different than what was produced by the engineering drawings, we have to revisit some of that. So, questions about this, what you're looking at?
As I recall, we said that we were in favor, of it being a stopping area, but that the whole thing with the tower would have to be revisited another time. And there's a concern about liability with that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when that second phase comes around.
Yeah.
The first phase was, I guess, was going to be your ramp going up, and it was going to be the flat area that's sort of there now, if you want to call it that, to try
Ramp
to
and
put a.
platform.
Yeah.
Which would prepare us so that if the Franklin County Tech School, who has asked us to file for, they're doing a construction project with us, a pavilion, it would be, I mean, there's a pavilion on the other side that they did, whether they built
Do
it
it.
like
do it.
that or
When-
something.
When I was teaching at Buckland Shelburne, I used to call them all the time when I was doing baseball to build all the stuff, and they love to. All you do is, I'll tell you ahead of time, have plenty of pizza and soda. For the kids, seriously, they really do a good job.
I have a question. What is the view from Blue Rock? How will that be impacted by this? Because there was just recently a telephone pole, a wiring pole that went up, and
Yeah.
the owner of the restaurant was not happy with the visibility of that.
Right.
How would this impact their view from there?
I didn't think that it would at all.
Holly's on board with this.
It's well below it.
Yeah.
I think good question, Joan, because I recall during the conversations we had that the pavilion is gonna be lower and it's not gonna
It's below
obstruct.
that
But that's why we had the
retaining wall.
question of having your,
Okay.
yeah.
The stairs in the tower will affect their view,
Yeah,
you know,
that-
and whether it's, so, when we get to that, if we get to that, that'll be it.
Yeah, that's, I said, the first one was the ramp that gave you and the level, and if you wanted to put your,
And if the tower gets built in phase 3 or whatever it ends up being, it was a spiral staircase and it gives access to up above and creates a nice little loop. So that's, Holly was liking that people would likely go up there, it would be, open up their place more.
Well, liability is a huge concern with
yeah.
that.
When we get to that phase, we'll take it.
So how, the pavilion there, how tall is that, Mike? You have a cover there, how much, is that like a pavilion so people can go under, or what,
How high is it going to be, your roof on your
roof there,
structure?
see?
We don't have a detailed drawing of it yet, because,
Yeah.
you know, depending on,
Yeah,
but
but what's the
I
head,
think
you know, head?
the height of the, I mean, it would have to conform to building code. It's not intended to be especially high,
Yeah,
so it'll probably be 8 feet under the,
possibly, yeah, we think it would be good for that, yeah.
yeah.
Pretty high. No,
one-
that's much higher than
One
that.
kind of option, it's not decided, but it would be something like that. Oh, wait, Woody.
Yeah.
So, you can see what they're there. No one is really enamored with that particular design, but it's
No.
just showing
Yeah.
a design
Yeah.
and what it would look like. And then up here, it shows what it would kind of look like on the space eventually. Questions, queries, thoughts?
So how much is this gonna cost?
What do we think? And this is Wadey Sanford, who has been our grant writer right along, and he's been helping us with everything.
I think, and that's still $132,000 for that ramp and the foundation for the pavilion. I don't believe it includes the pavilion, but I'm asking what that amount might be, because we'd like to apply for not a park grant, but a destination grant. And they range from 5,000 to 200,000. And we would have to apply for half of whatever we would need for the ramp and the pavilion and match that by going out and about and getting people to give.
So you're not expecting tax money to be paying for this from the town?
Well, we're trying not to.
No, we made that very clear. I
Yes,
don't
yes.
understand. We made it very clear. We can't. Honestly, that's like the park when I told you back there that, you know, I talked to them anyways, talked to them personally, and they wouldn't qualify. They said they could qualify, but it probably wouldn't have a chance because of the competitive. They like
Right.
open fields, they like this. And so they gave me a suggestion too. I don't know if that'd be, when I was talking to them, was the Mass Trails Grant Program.
It might work.
Yeah, okay, just to look into, I'm here and giving you some info too, but
Thank you.
it might help you. They thought it's probably not open right now, but later
Yeah.
you're an expert in finding it, so.
Well, maybe.
But they said that, well, that came from Representative Dudley Blaze's office, said that there's a good chance that you may be able to get
Good,
something
thank
to
you.
that, so.
I will.
So you're saying the PARC
Thank
park
you.
grant is not an option?
It's not gonna happen. Well, it's put this way, you wanna put the energy into it, you can go right ahead, as I
Sure,
was told. But unfortunately, they said, what it really is, it's not very competitive, okay? It's a place to put your bikes and stuff, and
Yeah.
they like to give out the money to open fields.
Sure.
That's all, so.
Like Crittenden would be a better field, park.
Cricket.
Oh, cricket field,
Yeah.
yeah, we already have some scheduled for that
Right.
too, and yeah, so that's certainly not a slam on the thing, but just
Yeah.
you wanna put the energy in, they said, go ahead and send it in, but,
The
No, it's helpful to
destination
know.
grants competitive.
I'm not familiar with them.
We went for the moon last time, or at least I did, and we got turned down. So we're gonna
Yeah.
go a lot less and try to at least get the 135,000 that we anticipate the ramp and the pavilion would be.
So we have,
Pavilion foundation,
we
excuse me.
I'm sorry. We presently have, with the Franklin County Community Development Corporation, about $50,000 remaining, which we've been using money thus far with planning
Yeah, sure.
documents and that kind of thing.
That's
So
right.
that money could be used towards our part of the match. Because we
No.
have- No,
According to the regs that they have, you have to raise the 1-for-1. That being said, we could start thinking about what it will actually cost, how much we wanna do
mhm.
with that money, and basically get ourselves paid back, because we apply for enough to pay for the whole thing.
I'm remembering that now, and Whitty had said that we could, for example, if we wanted to buy some benches, apart from this grant and the matching money that we'd need for that, we could buy benches or
Yeah.
picnic tables, and different kinds of things like that with that money. We also have some liability going forward when we want to come up with construction documents.
Yep.
And, yeah, and that whole process costs money.
Yeah.
Now, wait, is that one that, when you're looking at the grant, does that work like a park? In other words, you come up with all the money and you build it, and all of a sudden they're gonna give you back 80% or 60% to park ground, 60% at the most, yeah.
Yeah, so, they
Safety.
don't give you, they fund you as you develop the,
Oh,
whatever
okay,
you're
okay.
doing. They don't give it to you ahead of time. That's where the 50K that we have on hand could come on,
Yeah.
handy, because we could spend that, and then they would reimburse us that. Meanwhile, we raise the whole shebang, the whole, so if we apply for 100,000 and we raise 100,000, we'd have 200,000.
Yeah, good, yeah. You got that, now, do you have the same, I'm just asking you because I'm just
No.
throwing it out, if Mike should forget, or Bruce hasn't heard, or anybody, or Cindy, so anyone, sorry. And, the idea of make sure plenty of meetings with the town, Mike was already talking, you had meetings, but you really want to set it up as make it official, we can probably get it on can they use it, can we post it on our website?
They're a town committee.
Yeah, I
So,
thought,
yeah,
I thought we could.
They've been
actually.
having their meetings posted.
Oh, yeah, so,
We're actually two committees. Yes, we are a town committee, but some of us aren't even part of the town and can't be.
Well, you could be. The rec committee has out-of-town people,
Yes, of
if the
course it
select
does.
board agrees.
of course it does, yes,
But we started as a voluntary group.
yeah.
It basically is a bunch of bikers.
Bicyclists, be careful when you say
Cyclists.
bikers, yeah.
Cyclists.
Untrustworthy, obviously.
Yes.
Pulled the thing together and got excited about it.
Sure.
And then he went and donated the land to the town, Mike. So we had to have a town committee.
Mhm.
But this other committee is really the thinking behind how we can get it done.
I think, it takes an eyesore and turns it into something positive, and so.
Yeah.
I think in that way, it's a really good thing for the town.
I think you really should get done as much as you can on the first phase that we said right there, if it
Yeah.
includes if you can get benches, a picnic table, whatever, bicycle racks, possibly suggestion, maybe have a tool shed where you've got a cabinet with possibly tools, yeah,
Yeah.
and those things you can do anytime,
So I want to reiterate my
Go ahead, please, yeah.
perspective on this is that originally we thought we'd be a bike park. And my son Angus said, no, you can't be a bike park because that means that you have places where bikes can do
Right,
stuff.
right.
And so we're not that. So we're taking on the new term of, it's a pocket park community. And Marie Bartlett, who's not here right now, she liked the idea of a river view park. It's an amazing view. You get up there just a little bit higher. Well, if you go up above, you can see.
The walk behind you is called Riverview Walk, coming down from that, that's what we designated as
All
showing
right,
in
well,
here.
there you
So
go.
Good, that's good.
So, anyway, that's what I would like to, I have 3 notes here that and I don't want to keep you all night. So there's 3 things that we wanted to ask you. One was that you offer some support for Whitty to proceed. She's got till July 8th to get this all together, and we got to get 3 letters of support, and one of those we'd like to have be the town select board. So we'd ask you that if you would be willing to offer that support for this destination grant project.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand, what are you applying for, and
We're applying for a MONT grant, Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. It's the something destination grant.
Right.
and does it require matching funds by the town?
No, it requires that we match the grant that they give us. We, meaning these people,
Okay,
we have to go out and raise money ourselves. You can contribute, but you do not have to.
Right,
We have no
sorry,
money
I think
to
we made that very clear before. We
if we were
can't.
a town meeting, well, yeah, our
It
town
could
meeting,
be,
you would understand.
it could be pretty tough, it could be a
Yeah.
tough year, so.
Yes.
But that's why I think it's nice you got a good committee, and,
So the umbrella for this town project, for the purposes of raising money and getting it all assembled, would be the Franklin County Community Development Corporation,
Okay.
FC, CDC, which is what has been happening thus far.
yeah.
So, because they're 501c something or other, 3, we can raise money, we can have a GoFundMe online, which we did already, and the money can be claimed by those who donate as tax deductible.
Excellent.
And so how much will you be applying for?
I think about 75,000,
Okay,
and then we have to match that to get 150,000.
okay, and you have enough time before July 9th to put this together?
I will have enough time whether I like it or not. If
You-
you know anything about my life.
You've done that before, I was going to say.
Yes, and, but I have never done it on top of moving. We had to leave Gilbert Falls, and now we're down in Northampton. It was such a nice drive up here.
So that's the first ask.
Sure. Okay, so you need to have a letter of support from the select board. I have no problem with that. And Pam,
No.
can you maybe type
Do
it
you
up
want to weigh in
sometime?
at all, Pam?
I mean, I'm hearing everything sounds good to me. Yeah, that'd be great.
That would help.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm,
and how will we draw up this letter?
I can, I mean,
I
Whit
think
just said
Pam
she'll
with Whit can probably just.
send me some
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
key points that we're gonna wanna focus
And
on,
then-
and
and then we
I've
can
done
always
some
run
letters
down-
of support before,
And then we can
so.
come in and sign it.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna
let
say, I
us
don't think
know.
we have to wait for the next meeting. I think we just come
No,
in
I
and
think
sign
as long
it,
as you
so.
say that that's.
Because we have said here publicly that,
But you should
We
vote
do
on
formal
that.
vote?
Yeah.
should vote, okay. I'd like to make a motion that we write a letter of support for phase 1 of the, and the, we'll call it the phase 1 part of the
Riverview Park.
Riverview Park.
Okay. I second that.
I didn't say biker.
I know it, I know it.
I second that.
Second that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
So we'll continue to be bicycle themed when we eventually want to have a nice mosaic across the front
Yeah.
that's about a bicycle theme. We'll have maybe there'll be a water station, maybe there'll be a mechanic station, maybe there'll be, in the railings, we'll have some architecture with some old bicycle frame parts, who knows? But the idea of framing it, but honestly knowing that 90% of the use will not be with cyclists. It'll be people who live and walk around the area, and that's good. So.
And that paint, or that illustration, where would that mosaic be? I'm curious.
On the front wall.
Yeah.
Oh, the mosaic is gonna be,
Where the mosaic will be? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, where will the mosaic be?
The mosaics will be along here.
On that wall.
Yeah,
And
where the
how will
ramp
that
is,
be-
right?
How will that be affected by snow removal?
So is it on the wall to the right of the path? It's
think
not,
so.
it won't be affected by the trucks, because it'll be up above it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main issue. So, and if snow is up on the walkway, it's the mosaic would be okay.
What about salt spray?
Yeah, so,
That affects a lot.
No, that's,
No.
mosaics are, it's mostly glass and then concrete for all intents and purposes, is what holds it together.
and maintenance in the future who will be in charge of that?
them. And my initials are LAW, so that goes.
So
All right,
the-
thank you for answering my question.
So I have three things. That
Sure.
was the first request. The second one was that, that you also find some way, I don't know how you wanna do this, but offer support for this piece of property showing up on the open space planning committee work that needs to be done in the next months ahead. Somebody has to, right, we have an open space.
It'll probably be
plan.
more like years ahead. It's got a couple more years left
Oh, does
for it, but certainly we will tuck this away as that, and Cricket Field is also needing
Well,
to go
that's it.
on the open
Isn't the
space
purpose
plan.
of that to be eligible for a park grant?
Yeah,
And
that was
what
for a
Larry's
park grant,
saying is
yes,
the
the
park
town
grant
has
is,
to approve it to be.
Right.
At best.
But we could still add, if it's going to become a park
Yeah.
in our town, we should still continue to.
So-
add
I
to
wrote
our
the
open
date
space plan.
2027, because if next year, let's say, that somehow the cricket field is not on the plan either, and this pocket, so they both get added, let's say, in
Right,
2026. In 2026, cricket field can go after a grant, a park grant, because they would be on or about to be on or something like that. Well, we would like to get this project in, maybe in, for 2027 as a possibility.
When do we renew the open space plan?
I would have to look, I'm not,
It might
it's
not-
not,
That's-
it's not an imminent thing.
But that's a big requirement, is that they are a dedicated parkland for cricket field, which already, I don't think
And,
that is yet
and those
either, so.
meetings are also open and
Yeah.
posted, so once that committee starts meeting,
So what is that committee? Is it called Open Space Planning Committee?
Yeah.
the open space
So as far as
committee.
you know, there's no plan to like start that process this
They
next
had a
year?
meeting probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Uh-huh.
Are you on that committee, Janet?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
only three of us, turns out.
Yeah, I think they are looking for more members, for sure, so.
But yes, we did do a whole thing, like, I think you were there, we had a big meeting.
It was
here.
upstairs, here,
Oh, it was
I
a
think.
lot of people. You weren't there?
I don't
Um,
remember my Did I have fun?
Well, maybe you should go to the open space committee to talk
Yeah, when they
about it.
had, there was talk, I think, Janet, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they talked about trying to get it going again, maybe another meeting, in the not-so-distant future.
Right, and then there's, it's so funny, cause I just did my little thing.
Yeah,
And I need to know like what our requirements are,
Mhm.
because, there's requirements, right?
I feel like
Of
Phoebe was
going
involved in
through.
that
Me
too,
and
so.
Phoebe and one other person,
Mhm.
three of us.
Okay, so,
So, yeah, thank you, Mike, we'll have to figure out what we're supposed to be.
Well, I
There's a
know,
legal requirement though about meetings and
Right.
plans and
Yeah.
Yeah,
X
yeah.
amount,
Yeah.
this number of years of
Right.
planning, right?
do you remember what year it's due?
I think this is why we just had this meeting. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But we will definitely,
okay.
sure.
I know that at the Wilder Homestead, the Buckland Historical Society has a forestry plan that expires every 10 years.
Yep.
It's a 10-year plan and it expires, so you have to do it. And we're in the process of starting it up now, so that's why I was just wondering if the open space planning thing goes to this point, and you have to get prepared because at that date, it's no longer.
Yeah, it is, it's true.
In
We
defense of the
do.
cricket field mainly, that project, the things that I've heard talked about.
Whatever you need us to do.
I think it says the open space and recreation plans 2021 to 2028.
Oh, that sounds
Okay.
right.
28, I think it
What,
expires
28,
in
she said
28.
Say it again?
28, it expires,
Oh, in 2028, so you want to make sure it's
28, so
done
it
in 20.
gives you a little
next
time
2
to.
years, yeah.
Yeah, it
But
was
then
la-
again,
It was last updated in 2021.
okay. Yeah.
So, 7 years.
Thank you.
It's a little breathing room, but don't relax.
So that completes my request. If anybody else in the committee thinks that I might have missed something, we're delighted and appreciative of your time and that you have been supporting it in the past and that you'll tolerate me sometimes not showing up to meetings. I said I would be at.
Yeah. It
I
was-
just want to let you know that Cindy and I have been working on a project on Route 2. That sign that is on Larry Flacus's property that says
What?
Shelburne Falls.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's tattered and looks like, pardon me, crap. She wants to do it in a mural with her own interpretation, but the bridge would be there. and so
They've been there,
forth.
they've been there for a while. They've taken some beating with the weather.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
It's pretty ragged
Yeah,
for
yeah, is it?
100 years, but
Yeah.
her murals, her mosaics will stand the test
Cool.
of time.
Cindy, what's your last name? I'm sorry.
Fisher.
I don't need this.
It's
whole
okay,
thing.
that's right, they'll say, wait, now I hear the name has been said with mosaics, thank you.
They're really
There's a little
special.
historic sign that's by the Corvair,
Yep, Colex Corvair.
we've gotten their permission to update that one.
great.
And they're gonna trim around and so forth.
Very nice.
They're
Very nice.
they're really striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you engaged and involved, and we know that we are gonna be having other public meetings and hearings so that we can try to engage more and more people. The more we engage, the better the project will be,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
The tricycles, they fit in there. I got two granddaughters that maybe want to ride down.
I thought you and I were gonna be on a tricycle,
I'll be in a wheelchair.
or training wheels or
Tom and I
something.
bought electric tricycles,
Yeah,
and we never got to use them. Sold them to a couple from Belchertown, this past.
just up the street from me on Elm Street, you got, the one's got, the ones, you know, you lie back, you know what I'm talking about?
Those are
And it's
actually-
electric, that's, DeZalo's got that, he's, and his girlfriend's got one, she's got a flag, I think it's gonna hit the hole when she goes by,
Yeah.
but they are, and everybody up in Elm Street now is getting those electric bikes, they want
Yeah.
up the hill, you know?
The Clark gal has one of those recumbent bikes. They're handcrafted.
Oh, is that what they are?
Yeah, has a big flag on it.
Thank you, nice to meet you too, yeah, thanks Bruce, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this kind of stuff might be available in Heather's files.
It probably is.
Because we were
Yeah.
showing it on here at one time.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, none of that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
thanks.
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Seen it worked well, just, we don't do anything financial, and they covered it. Okay, got that. Senior Center Consortium, we did the summer days, did the park committee. What we got for contracts and grants, documents to be signed, nothing out here that we,
No, just moving on by the minutes
okay. So-
and warrants.
Okay, documents, minutes and warrants, okay, the minutes from May 27, 25, and June 10.
We still only have June 10th because the 27th, I wasn't here and it's not posted yet, so I can't.
I'm
Okay,
only leaving it on there as sort of a placeholder.
What?
I left it
Oh,
on
no,
there
I
as a
just
place.
wanted them to-
Yeah, yeah, but Mary and I are gonna get to the bottom of it before the next meeting.
if Mary says she will, she will.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a plug for you, kiddo. Okay, we also have the warrants, the vendor warrant 25,
We
27.
do have the
Well, you gotta vote
minutes
on
from
June
June 10th.
Oh, oops, my apology. Minutes from June 10th, we just forgot it, Minutes of June 10th, okay.
I already read it.
See, I am a couple years younger than you, so.
Still, the color of your hair matches pretty well, fine. Okay. Let's get back on track here. Minutes from June 10th, did you look them over, Joan?
I read it.
I don't have any problems either.
Real
Okay.
accurate.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes from the June 10th, 2025 Buckland Town Select Board meeting.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, that's unanimous. All right. So then we've got, now we can go on to vendor warrant and payroll warrants. They just might be in here to sign, that's all right, so we will sign those after, okay? All right, well, we're flying along here. Items not,
Vote on them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we have to vote on them too, okay, thank you, I appreciate that here.
Mary's keeping us on track here.
He's got a cattle prod on his, Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the vendor warrants for 25, 27, and payroll warrant for 25, 27.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Now, can we go on, Mary?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't kid yourself, we appreciate the help all the way. I don't mind doing this when Clint's not here, but it's nice to, okay. Items not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the meeting.
Do you have any concerns?
No, I don't have any concerns. I do, but they're not anything to do with Town of Buckland, okay. Select board member concerns?
Well, concerns is a funny word. It makes you sound like you're
Yeah, you
worried.
said that
Okay,
last
so
time,
we'll
too.
just say-
What should we call it from here on in?
Input? I don't
Eh,
know.
Input's a good word.
Select board member
board
input
member.
or something? I don't know. Concerns makes it like we're we're ticked off about something, or, you know, we bring it.
It doesn't have to
Anyway.
be.
Anyway, so Pam reached out to me today to see if I would attend something, because she had you have a conflict here, something else you're attending to. So on Thursday, I'm going to GCC because the Haley Driscoll administration wants to hear how the administration can support Franklin County communities' priority funding needs and infrastructure projects. So I will go to this thing. One thing I would like them to give is more rural aid,
Without a doubt, yeah.
and especially for our schools. I don't know, what else should I beg them for?
I mean, that's a large one. I will say part of, not to jump the gun, but part of my report was that just this afternoon, the governor did sign the supplemental budget that adds an additional 1.32 billion in
Yeah.
fair share funds to fund transportation and education. So we should be seeing some additional Chapter 90.
We'll see how fairly it's shared.
Right? They haven't told us yet how the
Well,
breakdown is.
I don't wanna crowd your.
No.
So what else do we need money for?
I mean, those are two very big ones. The
Not kidding.
education,
Yeah,
Not kidding.
transportation for our
Right.
school
That
children.
would be a tremendous help.
Obviously, infrastructure, roads, as we're replacing culverts and,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
any of that sort of thing would,
Yeah, we could use some help on our roads. I'm kinda dodging the sewer.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
tough
It's tough. I think, they do a great job.
Mhm. with the limited resources they
With
have.
limited resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wait for your reports.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, now town administration.
Anyways, I'm gonna be going to this, so
Oh, good.
it's from 11 to 2. They don't mention food, but
I think something did say refreshments. somewhere.
refreshments,
I think I
okay.
did see that.
Doesn't say lunch.
No, it says ample free parking on site. Doesn't say anything
I
about
thought I read
food.
something about
Doors
that.
open at 10:30, and I don't know.
That's
Well,
at,
you
is
know,
that at
I'll-
GCC?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's always plenty of stuff to snack on all over the place and eat. You'll be all set. I gained weight just going to that place.
Okay, all right, well, anyway.
You'll be all set, John.
I'll report back when
Okay.
Okay. Town administrator's report?
A few things. We've been very busy, just trying to close out the year end. Definitely a bit of a learning curve in figuring out all of the loose ends that I didn't start with, but I'm finishing. So that's been a good way to learn my way around the office.
We threw her in the deep end.
We did, and she's swimming well.
We've got, I'm hoping to have all the recommendations, working with our accountant to close out year-end finances. Finance Committee has their meeting on July 7th. You have yours on July 8th. So we'll hopefully have everything in a neat little package for you guys on the 8th.
Any surprises?
It's actually, Mike seems relatively calm, and I think it seems pretty reasonable this year.
Okay.
So far, no. Knock on wood. Paul Mary, to get back to Larry's concerns from several months now, they are still waiting on parts to repair that
Okay.
light up on Homestead and Elm.
Okay, then I also will throw one at you since we're talking that way on Elm right there. Tell Anthony,
The big-
just right across from Falcons, it would be. There's
Yeah,
ruts around.
yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
did
I'm
talk
just
to him
really
about
worried about
that.
it.
I will if that still is out
Yeah.
there, I'll
Thank you very
reiterate that
much.
with him. Again, like I just said, kind of late breaking news that the governor did sign that supplemental budget today. So that's, the fair share revenue that was much higher than they had anticipated. So hopefully Chapter 90 is gonna see a boost along with some funds for other infrastructure like culvert replacements and dirt roads were another focus. We don't have as many as some communities have, but
Chlorine's got
Chlorine
200
has a
miles
lot.
of it, yes.
yeah. We did close the transfer station today. It was recommended that we do that by the solid waste district because it was so hot. The humidity, the heat, it just really was not safe for, people to be out there, our attendants to be out there all day in the heat. We compromised, we were open until 11 and hoped that people may have taken advantage of getting out there
No,
early.
some left some trash.
I-
sitting there.
Well, some of us showed up at 2:15.
Uh-oh.
2:50 and
There was a cancellation notice sent out, and this is a reminder to everyone to sign up on the website for alerts to come over your
We
email.
are sent, there was no alert sent.
Yeah, I got mine right after I did
Did
it.
I
you
didn't get one.
Yeah, are you not signed up for alerts on the
Yeah.
email for the website?
Yeah. And text, they
I
just,
wonder why you didn't get it, because mine came. Janet, yours
Yeah.
came? Yeah?
I should say that when I was signing up for the alerts, I actually couldn't do it online and the town clerk did it for me.
I did too.
And what she did, she asked me, do you want everything and anything from chapter
Mm-hmm.
5? I said, yes.
Oh, so maybe there's certain ones
No,
not
she
selected?
did mine, and when
No,
we first signed up, I was getting everything, and, you know, in two different ways.
Okay, well, anyway,
Oh.
I got that alert.
Well, we're gonna have to look into that then, because I know I got mine, because
Yeah,
that's how I know it
got 2 bags
went
of
through.
trash sitting in my breezeway till
Yeah.
Saturday,
Okay.
so I'm not happy.
No, I can-
Well, unfortunately, you know, it was very,
It was
very hot.
a good thing to
and-
do for the guys. Don't we
and-
have air in that?
It's in progress, because it's the new.
We haven't got air conditioning yet, I know.
It's there, but it's not quite 100%, because
Okay.
they're still trying to finish the interior. I had talked to Jan at Solid Waste, Shelburne closed today, we were highly encouraged. You know, when I stopped this morning and spoke with Medi, that's when we came up with a compromise, because we didn't want to upset people, but at the same time, like Jan said, you know, really the health and safety of your employees are
Yeah.
most important, so we went with that decision.
They're gonna be open 4 hours on another day to make up for it.
I don't believe so. I
Just
think
thought
just
I'd
Saturday.
But good try.
So that's that, and then I guess the last piece of good news, which will also make people happy, is first and second quarter real estate bills will be going out
Oh,
on
yippee.
July 1st. So Kara's been working hard
Okay.
in her office, the assessor's office. We're trying to wrap things up in those offices as well. So it's been very busy in the town hall in the last couple weeks.
You know,
so.
on the corner of Ashfield and School Street, when they had to do the detour, when they were doing the work on here on Conway,
Mhm.
there is stuff that they use for the signs, and
Okay.
it's very heavy. I was gonna see if I could pick them up and bring them, but they're very, very heavy.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was the construction companies.
We're just sandbags.
No, they're not sandbags. They're these heavy, you know, it'd be like a form that holds up the sign, and they're really
That, yeah, but then they have sandbags to hold that down so the wind won't take it.
These are pretty high tech.
I can ask Anthony about it.
And, you know,
Yeah,
I'm sure they could use it, you know, but it's been there for, ever since the Conway Road,
Okay,
Conway's construction.
Okay. can ask
And I
him
don't know
about
if it was
that.
the company that did the work put it there or what, but it seems like too good to be hanging on someone's lawn.
Okay. I can ask him about that. Okay, and that's all
Thank you.
I
Well,
have.
thank you.
okay. All right,
And how's
Public-
can I,
Sure.
so how's it going?
It's going fine, it's very busy, going fine.
Good, okay.
public comment?
I'm here for public comment.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I made it.
You have to come up, you have to come up here, please.
I do.
Yeah, so they can hear you on the microphone, that's all.
Well, all right, I'll do it.
And also the camera here.
All right, well, thank you. Hey, I just wanted to check in with you, and I know this might be a lot related to Clint, but one of the things, the questions I have is that, I think there's another grant to fix Charlemont Road, like, the road was fixed partway from, like, Buckland Center, toward and a little bit past Avery Road, right? Whenever that was, not last year, but the year before. And then my understanding was, like, I'm just gonna do it because I'm one of these people, but then the next project was gonna go from there some more, right, which would have gone toward Charlemont. And then, and I don't even know what's happening with this, but what happened last year was for some reason, it got changed to do this next section of this road to start at the Charlemont town line and go this way, right? And am I talking to the?
No, I understand what you
No,
said.
No, I don't know who's making the decision, so, anyway, so this decision got made for some reason, And I was curious as to what it was because my property is only 6/10 of a mile from the starting point, and last year the other town administrator told me that that this new project never would have even made it to my property anyway, so it doesn't really matter like which side got done first. But I clocked it, and my property is only 6/10 of a mile. Now the reason why this is so problematic is because there are continuous and continual wetlands violations going on out there. And it's just ongoing and it's constant. And I talked to the Concom and talked to my wetland specialist, who I actually have to hire, even though I don't think I should have to be paying for anything. You know, so I put wattles in and did this stuff to try to protect, but basically there's sand just flowing right into these areas. And so as much as I tried to stop it from happening and stuff, you know, there's only so much I can do. I mean, I do it all by hand, all with, you know, the blessing of the Concom. There's areas that are so degraded that nothing can grow there anymore, like the soil's so degraded at this point. So every time the plows come, I'm not blaming the plow drivers, but like every time it gets plowed, it's just worse and worse and worse every year. And so this year it's worse than ever. And if you drive out there, it just every year is going to degrade. So what I was hoping was that, you know, wondering like why we wouldn't, you know, do the original plan, which I think would make it to my property. And at some point, you know, if it gets to my property, the wetlands, all the wetlands sort of mitigation stuff could happen at that point, like by how the road gets built, right? So that's my first question.
I don't, and the answer to that is, I don't know why.
I think it was Clint,
Unless
yeah.
no, I don't think Clint.
He said, that's what I was told, but
Well,
Okay,
he's the liaison
Yes,
to the
yes.
highway
To
department.
the highway department,
So
but
my
there could be
understanding
reason.
was that the condition. of
Right,
the-
exactly, that's what I heard. That's
From the
Right.
Buckland,
That's what it is.
Right.
town, you know,
Yeah.
the town line down there
Yep.
needed more attention,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
immediate attention.
right.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying to you is I don't see it that way because I drive on the road and where it is on my property is the most degraded area of all. But in addition, it's the wetlands violation that's there because, you know, most of our roads in town, I mean, I just happen to own this property where this wetlands area is right there, and that's not always the case on people's properties, right? And so the rest of Charlemont Road has culverts going under it, it has some streams, it has these areas that would be delineated as wetlands areas, but they're contained because they're crossing the road, whereas on my property, it's literally 1,200 feet of it. So anyway, so maybe it's something maybe that you could explore with me about why or what's happening, or if there's even a new grant.
We'll try to find out, okay?
Yeah,
I heard the same thing you did, this is
Yeah.
kind of funny, is that's because the deterioration of what was going on near the Charlemont line.
I get it.
So, I have no problem, I'll ask Clint, I'll ask
Well,
other
you can drive,
people, and
you
we'll.
can drive out there yourself.
Yeah,
Because
but
I
that
just-
doesn't do any, you know, just me driving out there and seeing that yours is here and yours is there, that doesn't what determines where they're gonna
Okay.
do it. It's gonna be
Okay.
done by the engineers and done by
Engineers,
the,
I think,
yeah.
ultimately, and
Exactly.
there actually is a grant that was already submitted
Right,
for
and,
this year
right,
for
so
that
this
other
is-
end.
So
But
this is
we will
for-
answer that by saying, and I think you're gonna find out it's probably for a legitimate reason, not
Okay.
an anti-Jane or anything.
No, I
So,
don't think
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but what I'm trying to say to you here, you select board in the town, there are wetlands violations going on there ongoing.
Yeah.
They've never been resolved. You know, the Concom can set claims that, whatever they're claiming, I'm not even sure what they're saying these days, but it's like, after the Concom told me again, like, I don't wanna say anything bad about them, but like, whatever people's opinions are out there, you know, I hired the wetland specialist again to come out, and she said, yes, there's clear violations here. Now, there's really not a way to fix them, and it is illegal, it is against the law, the town could be fined.
We have not heard, no, there you go, you're just saying
I'm
that.
here. Yep.
We have not
Yep,
heard anything from
Right.
any official
Right.
group or anything else
I'm-
like that. It says, you know.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah.
You're the landowner.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking about if all these commissioners are there and all these people are there, bring it to us
I am.
with them.
I am bringing
No,
it.
with them.
No, I'm not, nope. The reason why, no,
go.
please, no, please listen to me. If I thought that was going to work, I would do it. You know, the law is the wetlands specialist who I hire for a lot of money is the expert on if there's a wetlands violation. The Concom is not required by law to go out to deal with every wetlands concern, and they can actually say no. And if and when they say no, I can appeal that to DEP. And then DEP can say, it's not important for me, because lots of times it isn't. In which case, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. But that doesn't change the fact that there's violations out there. And that doesn't change that I can go to court, which I don't want to be doing with you. I'm just saying, please understand, there's wetlands violations out there. Clearly, there's not a question here. There's not a question about it being against the law. There's not a question about this. What I'm saying to you is that I would really like to get this resolved. It's going on for years and years, and so I was very, very disappointed when I heard that the direction of the thing changed. And it seems to me that for the town, for the judgment of anybody's part, that you should be concerned that there's wetlands violations, and that should be a priority for any decision making. I'll just say that. Thank you.
So Jan, did you
Yes.
go to the DEP?
I can. I mean, what happened was there was a cease and desist order that got done, and the reason it got done was because of the town's road work. So we had a cease and desist order a couple of years ago. The Concom members change. I had to call a lawyer to find out how to even complain. It was a different DEP guy than who is there now. And so in the course of all of that, I hired Emily Stockwell, who is, a very reputable wetlands person. Now, she would normally just be able to assist in all of this, right? Because that's her job. Like, we don't have a wetlands specialist on our Conservation Commission, and it's not required that we do, right? So rather than, and then what happened, it's just on it went, And so I'm trying to work it out with you. I'm trying to work it out with the Concom. I'm trying to work it out with all of you. One of my options is to go to court, right? To challenge the fact that the Concom didn't want to act. I'm not talking to the Concom right now, so I don't want to be implicating them in any direction. I'm really here to try to work it out with you, wondering why you aren't concerned enough and why you switched gears, when it seems to me a priority would be the fact that you have wetlands violations out there that you could be fined, and it doesn't have to be the Concom, it doesn't have to be DEP, it could be a judge. But I would rather work this out with you. Okay, that's part A. Part B, I want to work it out with you. But my frustration is that you changed the plan, that the plan got changed.
We didn't change
Well,
the
whoever
plans.
changed it.
Okay,
Someone changed it.
probably the engineer.
Okay, but you're the
Not if an
Can I
engineer
take
says
time out?
yes.
It would be nice if you came and had this discussion when Clint was here, because he is our highway liaison,
Okay,
and
okay.
he would know
Yeah.
all
But
the
I
details.
asked you already if I could ask you. Okay, but
He'll
then,
be here at our next meeting.
Okay.
He could not do it because of
Okay.
his requirements of his job to
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
be here.
But I think it's worth, and I'm gonna look into it too before
Okay.
then, and
But-
we'll find out
but
what
I'm
it
just,
is. which it-
it's just frustration
I
for me.
understand.
And then the next time I'll come again. I'm doing my best, I'm out there, hiring people to help me do stuff and, protecting this area as best I can, even though it's not really my job. The next thing will be, I guess this will be Clint, but I still just want to say it now because I'm here, is that when the plow trucks come now, it's like worse than ever, right? Because if you drive out there, you'll see. It's just, there's no way that the plows can't avoid like dumping a bunch of stuff. They can't help it. I get that.
What do you mean, what kind
Well,
of stuff?
because you've been out there, the road is so much more broken down now. So what happens when the plow trucks come, they can't avoid, the road's broken down. They have to be on the road. It's all broken down, so stuff gets pushed over into this wetlands
You mean
area.
like pieces of the road is what you're
Pieces
saying?
of the road go in, sand, salt, debris, all kinds of stuff. So one of the things I'm thinking about, which I hope that you would consider, and I can come again, is that area, like part of what gets dumped in is sand and salt. Like you can go out there now and look at the bottom of a stream and see, like this much sand and salt sitting there, which isn't supposed to be there. And so, I don't know, I know sometimes it happens where you can not sand and salt an area that's sensitive in some way. People do that, they have these no salt sand parts. And if we could think about that, that would be helpful, at least like a little bit of relief for the area.
Yeah, well, I really think that you should be here when Clint is here,
Yeah.
because I think he mentioned to me that they weren't sanding the road, they were just doing salt on there, or whatever that treatment is.
Right. Well, we'll see, but, I mean, you're welcome to go with me out there and look at the bunch of sand in there, but just something, I mean, I am doing my best, I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I am like really disappointed, because I was so hoping that it's like, okay, when the road gets fixed and, then I can, we would have a plan for out there.
And we have a conservation committee,
Yes, you do,
Yeah.
and, have they been out there?
yes.
They have, and we haven't heard anything from them.
Well, it's like, what's happening is that I was the chair of the Conservation Commission, so I do know like what this is to deal with the public and back and forth, and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to say that the Conservation Commission does have this like level of discretion, which I, as the Concom chair, never wiggled a lot, and these are all like nice people and all that, right? But, the whole thing got dropped at one point, just the Concom just, there was a cease and desist order. You're supposed to like fix stuff before you undo the cease and desist order, and they just undid the cease and desist order without nothing happened that fixed anything out there. Now that is not quite illegal to do, but it's not looked positively upon. Like, I can go and do a whole nother wetlands complaint with them, but, I don't think we're gonna get anything better, than what we have now, which is I'm really trying to work it out with you and the road crew, because it's gonna come down to that. The Concom is not gonna have, Emily is gonna have, she actually made a mitigation plan. I mean, even if you're going through the Concom, someone, in this case should be the town, would hire a wetland specialist, and that wetland specialist would be the one creating a mitigation plan. It wouldn't be the Concom doing it anyway. And Emily already did it. So,
And
so
you
it's.
shared that with the Conservation
And with
Commission?
you, I mean, yes, absolutely, I mean, this was all part of what we were doing. I paid her several $1,000s to do this, and then I just spent hundreds of dollars out there buying these wattles to protect the area. And, in a way, I would rather do it myself, because, I don't want these guys going out there, the highway department, they're busy enough, I don't want them going out with machines and compacting the soil further, do you know what I mean? I don't expect anybody to be out there raking this stuff out like I do, I would never ask, these guys don't have the patience for it, but, so anyway, it's a problem, it's ongoing, I feel caught in the middle, and I'm just trying to do my best here.
So it might be helpful for you to come and find out what our plans are for the rest of the road.
Yeah, and I would love.
And Clint would be.
I'm curious too,
Yeah,
because
We
yeah.
each of us have different.
Yes,
different,
yes, I get that.
boards that we deal
Well,
with.
I think
or
I
how-
started off the thing by, can I ask you this question? I think I started with that. I think I did. I think I started with that, and now I get that we're.
Yeah, because we don't always
wandering into
hear
the-
everything.
Yeah,
But,
I know.
the same thing with, I'm looking at saying, I'm gonna talk to Clint about maybe having someone from the Conservation Committee up here and someone from Highway here. Let's have a discussion about this, because I don't know.
Yeah,
I assume it was because there was more
Yeah.
deterioration at the other, and they
Yeah.
started from there.
Yeah.
But,
and we don't have unlimited money.
talk about your issues
Yeah,
that way.
And I get that. And the
Yeah.
other thing is, I just want to say this, because I don't understand this, but maybe you guys will, or maybe somebody will, but, the town of Charlemont, like, they just paved their road from whatever, near Berkshire East over to the town line. Just paved it.
Mhm.
They didn't put in, guardrails, they didn't put in curbs, they didn't do anything like that. And then this other section of Charlemont Road that got done from Buckland Center over to Avery Road has lots of bells and whistles, and it costs a lot of money. So I don't really understand how this works. I'm sure Clint does, but like, it looks like Charlemont did it for a lot cheaper.
They also probably didn't put in the required drainage,
Yeah.
safety features. I
No,
mean,
they-
you can use chapter 90 funds to go ahead and put some
Well-
pavement down. That's
Okay.
what towns are allotted.
Okay,
And maybe that was their choice based
that's what
on
they did.
their maintenance plan
Right,
that they
right.
have for the town. But what we're looking to do, because as you know, Tremont Road has a lot of issues, and it really, you could put a Band-Aid on it, but it's just gonna
Yeah.
Right.
fail.
right, it's
So-
Band-Aided before. And then the other thing is, I really don't know, I mean, I can consult with Emily again, but one of the things that she and I talked about was when we ever get to doing this section of Charlemont Road, when we ever get there, you know, there'll be a wetland specialist that somebody will hire, and Emily will be my person, you know, and try to figure out something that's, works, so, for all of us, so.
Well, we'll see if we can answer your questions. Okay, seriously,
All right.
on the 8th, if you'll come.
I'll try.
Clint should be here,
I
but
know,
at least I'm gonna get the questions of why they switched from what it,
and
can
then-
be able to give you that
And then
question.
again, it's my intention to work it out
Yeah.
with everyone. I'm not trying to give anybody a hard time, but it is a difficult situation if it's something you care about, which I do, and,
So would it make sense to have her, put her on the agenda? Or do we have, or for her to just come in public comment time?
That's
I
a-
don't know, but that's what we talked about before in
yeah,
your
Jan, I
office.
had left it kind of
We
up to
left
her
it-
the
we
last
left it
time,
then, I
and
just
she
couldn't
felt she
public
wanted
comment.
it just in
Now that I
case.
know what time the meeting is, I could kind of like try to get here.
Well, we
So
always
it
post the
works.
agenda, so you know.
Yeah,
It's,
Yeah.
it's, now I know it's 5
We'll
o'clock.
talk to Clint anyways, if we have to have a member of the highway department, I mean, we'll do that. And if we have to have someone from the conservation committee to listen so that many ears are
Yeah,
hearing what's
sure,
being
it's okay
said,
with me.
not.
But if she's coming during public comment, it's
Well, that's what I
different
mean,
than
I would rather have the agenda, is what I was saying,
Yeah.
if we want to do that, and,
Okay, what's the date of the next meeting?
8th,
And the day of the week is?
Is there enough time?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's always on Tuesday.
Is
Um,
we have a lot that, the end
We
of the
do
year.
have quite a lot
That's a
because
pretty
it's
big
the
one,
first
yes.
meeting of the fiscal year.
Okay.
Yep,
I will also say this is obviously not an emergency, right? This is just ever ongoing, but I've been meaning to come in. I mean, whatever this grant is or whatever all this is, it's not happening tomorrow, right?
how about if we do this, how about, I'll talk to these people, we'll talk to them, and we'll sort of go, and maybe
Find a meeting?
maybe in August.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying, because since it's not, right, it's not, nothing we can do about it right now, they're
Sounds
going.
good to me.
In August, whenever we have
Or
a
July
meeting.
22nd or
Well,
something.
Sounds-
July 22nd, I didn't think Clint was gonna be here. Or
We
was
may
it?
only have
Well,
one
that's right.
meeting in July, I
That's
don't know.
right.
Yeah, we
I'm-
only have one
Right,
meeting in
August.
July.
I can just get back in
That's
touch.
right.
Yeah, let's do that, because I think,
August
I
is a
get
good
frustrated, I'm
time.
sorry to be
I'll put
frustrated
it
too,
in
because
my-
I've heard it so
on
many
my
times, it's like, why?
calendar.
I don't know, we haven't heard from
But that's
the
okay.
experts, and so
That's
this
okay.
could help a lot.
That's
This
okay.
could help to
I just
understand.
I just wanna be working it out with you and trying
Yeah,
to figure
I hear
out
you.
what is going on. So,
I hear you.
that's all, I'm not interested in like, lots of things. Like, all I wanna do is just figure it out.
And that's why I'm saying, if I can
Yeah.
get these people to come and we can, let's have
August is
some
a
time
good
to talk
suggestion.
about it, so.
Okay.
Right, but I won't bring Emily because it costs a lot of money.
Oh,
right?
that wouldn't
So
be bad. Don't go out of your-
But she is the.
If she wants to write something up, I mean,
And you can share it.
I guess
Or I
we-
can bring in all her stuff that she
yeah,
gave me,
we,
because
we
nothing's
could,
different.
we
out
could
there.
accept that into the minutes. I mean, that doesn't, it's not legally binding, but the point is, if we got
No, it's
something
just
she.
that I don't
re-
wanna hire her
something.
some more, like.
Okay.
it's a
I
lot of money.
understand.
Maybe
Thank you.
maybe you could write something up of what you're doing, what you've done.
I'll go find some of the emails that she
Okay,
wrote to me.
that
All right.
sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a great evening.
Thank
You too. Okay, so we've got some things to sign, Joan,
We have announcements and.
and we have, oh yes, announcements and upcoming meetings, thank you. Today, our guest announcer is Joan. Announce away.
Pleasant Brook Watershed Community Open House will be held Saturday on the 28th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And details are on the town's website. It's being held at the building at the rec center.
Two locations, it will be, and it's throughout the whole day, it's not like you have to start at one and go to the other. They're
Okay.
kind of their own standalone spots, from my understanding, library, Buckland Public Library. And, yes, the old pool house, at the rec area is where they're gonna be staging, because there's gonna be some walk through the new, native plantings that we did there as part of the project last year, and I think there's also gonna be some potentially looking at, testing of the Clesson Brook. They're not gonna be actually testing it, but there's gonna be a water demonstration of some sort as well.
Do you know where the other location is?
At the library.
Oh, is it the library?
Buckland
And
Public
then,
Library.
okay, and then.
Yeah, and I know they're having refreshments, they're having, I think, sandwiches at the
Okay.
rec area and pastries at the library, I think I heard, so, and it's gonna be great for all ages. So they've worked hard on putting this together, so I hope they have a good
Yeah.
turnout.
Good,
Okay.
really good.
Want me to make the other announcement?
Oh, you go right ahead, yes.
The next select board meeting is scheduled July 8th, and that's at 5 PM.
Yeah.
Will be-
And
Come
Thursday.
join us if you want.
Okay, well,
Now we gotta adjourn, so you gotta.
yeah, that concludes tonight's meeting of the Buckland Select Board, and hopefully you'll join us again on July, what did we say? What, July 8th, right?
July
On
8th.
July 8th at 5 o'clock.